Hi, I'm Bradley.
And I'm Brendan.
And on today's episode of Story Proof, we're going to do something just a little different.
Yeah, so far on this channel, we've been largely positive about the things that we've liked and disliked. There have been a few exceptions to that. One of us has been a little easier on a movie or something on occasion than the other, and so on and so forth.
Well, not today. Today we chose violence.
Not so much violence. I mean, it's not really. You came up with this concept, so I'm going to let you kind of describe what it is we're going to do.
Yeah, so the thought came to me a while back that you and I were talking a little bit about, they do so many reboots and remakes here. Yeah. I say lately, crap, forever. But so often, it seems like the thing that they're remaking or rebooting, the original was very good. A good movie, good franchise, whatever it was. And I was like, why is it that that's usually what they go for? I think it would be a much better idea and a much cooler concept of remaking a movie that had a lot of potential, had a lot of things going for it, and maybe just didn't pan out the first time. The specific example that I had given was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
That is a movie that, to me, on paper, is like one of the coolest fucking concepts I can think of for a movie.
Yeah.
But ultimately, a lot of people didn't enjoy it, didn't think it worked. I think that would be one that would be really cool to remake. So the concept behind this is pretty similar to that, where the first thing we're going to talk about is a movie that should have worked. Maybe there were actors that we knew that were tied to it, a concept we really liked, a director or something along those lines, maybe even all of them. And then we went and saw it, and it just didn't. It just didn't work. We didn't enjoy it. It was maybe very forgettable. I think we've all experienced films like that before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we've got that for a film. The second thing we're going to talk about is a TV show that we watched it, maybe even tried to watch it a few different times, and just never got into it, despite it being a very well-regarded show. Plenty of friends and people that we knew really liked them. The one I'm going to talk about, everyone and their mother has told me I would enjoy, and I just don't. So we've got that one going. The third one is going to be a video game that was another one of those things that just had everything going for it. It should have been great, and for whatever reason, for us, it just didn't hit. I will say that the two games we're going to talk about, particularly mine, remarkably well-regarded game. And I just don't find myself enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then the last thing we're going to talk about is a little bit of the flip side. A movie that a lot of people tend to speak pretty badly about, think very little about, but we ourselves tend to enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would necessarily say they're like a guilty pleasure movie, but I think thinking of it in that direction, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I could see someone saying that.
Yeah.
For those. So I guess the first one for you is going to be a movie that you went into with very high expectations. You thought was going to be great. You were going to love it, and then walked out and was just like, eh.
Yeah. So this one's going to kick us off on a real good note, because this movie, and really these movies in particular, are very popular amongst moviegoers these days. And by all accounts, it should have been a movie that I think I should have enjoyed more. It's not to say that this movie, or these movies in particular, are bad. They are very well crafted. I can see why people love them so much. But for me, the two more recent Dune movies, Dune and Dune Part 2, just do not hit that same way.
Yeah.
And it's just... There's a lot of stuff to like about Dune, and I expected to like it. It's this grand epic cast of people and this grand story.
I will say, now I have not seen the two newer Dune movies, but I have seen the original one. And one thing that I will say that got even me is, as much as I talk about how much I love it when worlds feel lived in, that one maybe feels a little too lived in.
Yeah.
Like when you get there, you're like, man, I feel like... it feels almost like maybe you're watching the third or fourth movie in a series.
Yeah.
Like the amount of lore and characters and development and stuff that you can clearly tell happened story-wise before what you're watching, it can be pretty overwhelming.
Oh, yeah. They are absolutely dense in terms of their world building and everything else. You're talking about all these different prophecies and everything else that are going on. You've got these different clans, these different, and everything's reigned over by the emperor, and it's just there's so much happening in it, and usually that's not bad. I think of like the Lord of the Rings. I've never read the books like you have, but I understand that they are incredibly dense with lore, and even the movies are fairly dense with the lore of Middle Earth, but they find a way to streamline it in a way. For me, personally, I think the Dune movies kind of get bogged down at times in the lore. And I think that they are both a little bit longer than they need to be. I got bored halfway through.
Yeah.
I can't explain why I got bored halfway through.
You just didn't find yourself that drawn to it.
It's just not... It just wasn't for me.
And see, that really is the exact thing that I was thinking of with this concept, is the fact that there are so many things that should work for you, but you just don't find yourself enjoying it.
Yeah. Even in the second one, when Christopher Walken shows up for like 5 minutes, it should be fun, and it's just it's not. But yeah, like I said, Denis Villeneuve, great director. I can see the art, I can see the vision. Beautifully built worlds in terms of like the CGI, the production design, everything. Like top-notch filmmaking. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. When I sat down to watch Dune Part 2 in preparations for this coming award season, because it was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, I looked at the near 3-hour runtime, and I was just like, and I was just, because the first one was about 2.5 hours long, and that was pushing it already for me, and it's just, it truly is disappointing, because Dune feels like something that I should love.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually I will look back on it and it might somehow click. How many times did I play Resident Evil with you and it didn't click until it finally clicked?
See, you should have gotten that the first time. Resident Evil should have been love immediately, but whatever.
But yeah, I totally appreciate where people are coming from with it. Just not for me.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, because mine is not that way. It is not a particularly well-regarded movie.
Yeah.
But I went into it with sky-high expectations. I was excited. I was just chomping at the bit to see X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, especially coming off of Days of Future Past.
Dude, seriously!
Like, I remember you and I going to see Days of Future Past in the movies.
Yep.
In the theater. And we were just completely blown away. Like, we liked First Class, but Days of Future Past just upped
so
that
good.
thing.
Oh my god! And then I remember being in the theater, and at the end, the post-credit scene is Apocalypse creating like the pyramids.
Yeah.
And dude, the buzz in that, everyone, oh my god, it's Apocalypse! Oh my god, who's Apocalypse? Oh my god! Like I remember that. And Oscar Isaac is one of my favorite fucking actors, dude. Yeah. And the cast is just stacked and bringing in so many cool fucking characters.
Yeah. And
the bar was set so high with Days of Future Past. And then it was just not great. It just, oh man. Some parts of it I still think are very good.
Yeah.
Fucking Magneto is one of, sorry, not fucking Magneto. Magneto is, for me, one of my single favorite, like, cinematic comic book Marvel characters of all time. I fucking love. I mean, I love the bad guys. So I like that he's kind of in this movie in particular, because you see his family get murdered in front of him, and then he just goes fucking ballistic, which understandable. I really enjoy that. I again enjoy a lot of the performances in this, but man, this movie just, we were even talking about a little bit ago, you're like, I remember seeing this, but I don't really remember remember a lot of. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
it. I feel like that's the phrase for a lot of people with this movie. Remarkably forgettable movie.
Literally, the only thing I remember from it is the thing that everybody remembers from it because it's the internet's favorite scene from it, which is the Quicksilver thing. Isn't that where he saves everybody from the mansion being blown up?
Yeah.
That's from Apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about at the end where Apocalypse just fucking snaps his leg, and you're like, oh,
no,
well, that's disappointing.
No, the scene where Quicksilver saves everybody from the mansion being blown up.
Yeah, the dog with the piece of pizza in his mouth is pretty good.
That's literally the only thing I remember about it, and that's because I see that clip all the time on social media.
And see, even in that scene, they fucking kill off Havoc in that scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously? Like, it's literally one of those, like, kind of blink and you miss it, don't think about it type things.
Yeah.
Olivia Munn as fucking Psylocke was awesome.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it just didn't really work for me. See, I thought you were going to say the one thing you remember is that this is the one where you see Xavier's hair fall out.
I don't even remember that. So.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's fine. This is just, I mean, still a lot of great characters in this, a lot of great actors, and there are some scenes that I think look really good. There is some writing that I think is really good, but when you walk out of it, it really is just, like, remarkably forgettable.
Yeah.
And, again, just fucking coming off of Days of Future Past, I just feel like maybe they set the bar so high on that one because you had Apocalypse, then you had fucking Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
That, again, I've seen it, I think, twice. I maybe remember 3 things about it.
Yeah.
And one of them's about Magneto when they're in the train car and he just fucking, like, crushes it like a soda can. You're like, fuck yeah, I want more. I just want a literal 3-hour-long movie of Magneto going fucking beast mode. That's what I want. Save the X-Men franchise today. Just fucking Magneto going ham on people.
But would it still be Michael Fassbender? Or would it be a different...
Fucking he and McClellan both. Fucking multiverse this bitch. I'm fine with it.
Well, it's funny considering we were originally, before the debacle that was X-Men Origins Wolverine, the original first Origin movie was supposed to be Magneto.
Dude, it'd have been so good.
So...
But yeah, Apocalypse is one of those ones that, again, I went into it with such high hopes. I had already heard a few kind of bad things about it, and I'm like, no, I'm going to... And then I thought the beginning was really cool, where you see him and the pyramid and the people fighting again. I was like, yo, this is fucking cool. And then I just don't think it ever got better than that.
Yeah.
Just remarkably forgettable movie. And it just sucks. Yeah. I think it could have been so much more.
Absolutely. Especially coming off, like I said, Days of Future Past, which was just...
so good.
Such a good, fun movie to really invigorate the X-Men franchise, and then it just sort of fell apart from there.
Yeah, but that's my movie. So then we've got a TV show that I think you and I have remarkably similar answers for this.
We do.
Yeah, so there, you know, I feel like TV show. I have a few people tell me about, I think you would enjoy this movie. I have a lot of people say stuff about video games. I think you would enjoy this. I have a shit ton of people like, you should watch this TV show. And then I look, I'm like, it's 25 seasons.
Yeah. Can
you not suggest something shorter, please? But I just really feel like a lot of people suggest TV shows to me. And sometimes I watch them and I'm like, you don't know me very well. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not my thing. But yeah, so what is your show?
What
you
want me to go first again?
I can do mine.
No, it's pretty easy for me. And I know, again, this is a just truly
this is the one
show.
We're not gonna make any friends on these answers.
I tried and I tried and I tried multiple times. I just cannot get into The Office.
Fair.
Which is shocking to me because two of my favorite shows of all time are Parks and Recreation and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and they're both made by the same people who did The Office. And I hear over and over again, people will say, you know, the first season is slow, the first season's rough, and you have to get through it to do that. But I can't. I love most of the people that I know that are in the show.
Yeah.
Like, I love all of those people. I just cannot do it. Uh, yeah, I don't really have much to say in regard to. I just
And
like.
I will say I have a very similar thing because mine is Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
And for me, and you and I have argued about this one before, because I am also one of those people that a lot of people have said you would enjoy this. I think you'd like it. I've seen so many clips from this show, and I'm just like, I should like this. This seems funny. This seems right up my alley. And I've tried on multiple occasions to watch it and never been able to get more than a couple episodes in. And what we were talking about is you had said, and a few people said, "Oh, you got to get through the first season." Fuck that. I disagree with that. If I'm watching a TV show and I have to freaking raw dog myself through the first season, fuck that show. I'm not going to watch it. Like, if a show does not grab me in the beginning and make me want to watch it, I'm going to go watch something else.
Yeah. The one thing I will always say about Parks and Recreation is, honestly, you could just cut the entire first season entirely, start with the beginning of season 2, and you won't be missing a whole lot.
Yeah.
You can get a grasp of the characters even still at the beginning of season 2, and it would be basically just a whole new thing.
See, that bothers me. If that's the case, like,
it's because it's one of those shows that didn't find itself until the second season.
And I get that. I definitely do get some shows taking a little bit of time. But what we talked about is our favorite show, The West Wing. I'm telling you, the moment Leo McGarry is walking down that hallway in that first episode, I'm fucking hooked.
Yeah.
I mean, The fucking Boys, first episode, I'm in. Schitt's Creek, first episode, boom. All of my favorite shows. I'm not having to, like, muscle my way through. Sometimes you have shows that they maybe have a season or two or something later on that, you know, once you get in a bit, I always think of fucking Supernatural. That's always the one I fucking think of. Episode or season 6 and 7, you know, but you had such a high for 5, and then I think they pick up some steam later on. Yeah. But I don't want to have to muscle my way through the first season of a show. For me, again, if it just doesn't get me, I'm gonna go watch something else.
Yeah. Well, the common rule of thumb I always heard over the years was that if you're not hooked by, like, the 4th episode of the season, you're probably not going to get there.
And that's as far as I've gotten in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And The Office, I have thought about watching. I'm not going to lie. I had one friend in college that talked about it so much. I think I still have a bit of bitterness towards The Office. Yeah. And the clips that I've seen seem funny, but I do not enjoy those as much as I do the clips I've seen from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think maybe between the two, that one, because The Office was a possible contender for me.
Yeah.
But then that one, I was like, I've never really watched enough of it to feel like I can say I ever gave it a try.
Yeah.
But fucking Parks and Rec, I've watched probably the majority of the first season a couple of times and just fucking cannot get into it.
I would behoove you to start at the beginning of season 2 and give it a shot if you decided to do it again.
That feels like cheating.
But
it just feels like cheating.
And for those of us who love Parks and Rec, we know that everything really finds its stride once Rob Lowe and Adam Scott show up at the end of season 2. So
the end of season 2?
Yeah.
No, fuck off.
It's about midway through season 2. So
you said end, and now you're changing your answer. That's too late, man. But the thing that always really stuck in my mind is that there are some shows that I love that I've heard people say, you've really got to get through season 1. And I'm like, what the fuck show are you watching? Season 1 was great. We were talking earlier about Breaking Bad. My sister is like, Breaking Bad is just too slow. Yeah. Literally, by the end of the first episode, the main character is in his tidy whities in a desert aiming a gun at what he thinks are police officers. How the fuck can you say this starts slow?
But that is still kind of
just redline my microphone on that.
It is still kind of to the point of not just this episode, but kind of the tone we've set throughout the course of the show so far is that people like what they like and they don't like what they don't like.
Yeah.
So some things grip people more than others.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. I wish that you would get into Parks and Recreation, but I'm not going to make you.
Yeah, the only time I can think that I would be willing to give a show a bit more leeway is if it was a spinoff or in somewhat related to another show that I knew I liked.
Yeah.
Because I thought about Breaking Bad. I like I really like Breaking Bad. I fucking love Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
So if Better Call Saul had started kind of slow and I didn't like the first few episodes, I would still have in my mind, no, I really like Breaking Bad. Let me really give this a shot.
Yeah.
The other one I think of is Gen V, which is a spinoff of The Boys. That one really didn't get me until a couple episodes in, but I was giving that one more leap because I know also like the DC shows that they had where it was like Arrow, Supergirl, The Flash, all of those, I was willing to give those so much more leeway because I fucking loved Arrow. So if a show has that going for it, I think it could possibly skew me a bit more towards it. But yeah, if it doesn't get me in the first couple episodes, it's probably not gonna get me because I'm not gonna stick with it. But yeah, so since I haven't created enough enemies yet, let me talk to you about why I don't like Elden Ring. So this is the single game that it pisses me off because I don't like it. And I wish I did. I should. I fucking love Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls so much. Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, I absolutely love them. I would play Bloodborne if I had a PlayStation. I am hoping that the Demon Souls remake is gonna show up on PC at some time, please. I love FromSoft. They are the gaming company that when I see their names, I'm like, I know what to expect. They do quality stuff. I love these guys. George R.R. Martin was tagged with this game. I'm like, hell yeah. And I've tried so many times, Brendan. I have probably put over 80 hours in this game, and I've started it probably a dozen times, and I just can't. I just don't find myself enjoying it. The combat is good. It's great even. It's FromSoft. They know what the fuck they're doing.
I was gonna say, is it because it's like just too big and expansive? Is it because the story just doesn't grip you? What is the problem?
I think it's a mix of both because I'm not gonna lie, the map is so big and finding stuff is so hard. It's a little hard to even know what the fuck the story is.
Yeah.
And the thing that gets me though is I will never forget playing the first Dark Souls. That game, you don't have a map, you don't have a journal, you don't have shit helping you. You just have to wander around until you find stuff. And unless you know where to go. And I remember that was the first game that I ever really dived into. I was online. I was watching videos. I was looking at where items were and maybe strategies for beating certain bosses. I just dived headfirst into that game, and it enriched my experience so fucking much. And I just know that is there for Elden Ring. I know that I just need to like get into it, and I'm done. I know I'm going to be in it. I just fucking can't. Because it's really different. It's got a map. It's got all sorts of fast travel things immediately, which, I mean, Dark Souls 2 and 3 do. But there's a lot there that is very familiar, and a lot of it that's new. I think some of it is that it feels very overwhelming at first, really just in general. And I feel like if I just knew a bit more about where to go, what to do, where things were, I think I would enjoy it a lot more. But to do that, you got to play it, or you need to like watch videos and things. Because I like FromSoft so much. I was literally telling you earlier that Elden Ring Night Rain is going to come out soon. I was like, dude, we should get this. We should play this. It looks fun. I know I would like it. I just fucking can't. I mean, it got like won so many Game of the Year awards.
Yeah.
It was a really nice win for like single player based fucking games because it was like, yeah, you don't have to have some massive online multiplayer first person shooter. No, you can really take the time, make a good game, and it's going to do really well. Which is ironic because fucking Baldur's Gate 3 came out the next year and fucking did this exact same thing. I'm saying next year, I think the next year. But I just don't find myself enjoying it that much. Every time I play it, I feel like all I'm doing is exploring and finding things, which is nice. But I like to do like side mission things with a bit of main mission things.
Yeah.
I can't fucking find the main missions. I'm just wandering around getting my ass kicked by these fucking bears that, Jesus Christ, these fucking bears, dude. They are like top tier boss level enemies, and they're just out and about. Some of the dragons in this game are far easier than these fucking bears. They drive me. They're oh my god. It is fun. I just don't find myself particularly driven to keep playing it. I wish I did. Again, I've put so much time into it so far, but I just fucking can't break through, man. I just can't.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I wish I liked it more.
I also wish I liked the game that makes my list for this a bit more, because I think I've mentioned it before. I might have mentioned it before. My favorite video game of all time is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I love the Assassin's Creed story through 1 all the way to Unity. And even Syndicate is okay. But I cannot get through Assassin's Creed Origins. I think it has a lot of the same problem that Elden Ring has for me, which is that the world is too expansive. And I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me on that, but for me, it's too much. It's too much here, there, everywhere. I feel like you don't get the story as streamlined as in the game as I would like it to be, and as I had been used to with the rest of the franchise. Because I've always liked the side missions in addition to the main missions in the Assassin's Creed games, but it's too much. It's too big. And the other thing that I really can't stand is, I'm not a big fan of RPGs and stuff like that. And that was when Assassin's Creed really started making the transition into RPG styles. The combat completely changed. The way that the interactions go completely changed. It became everything that I don't like about video games.
It's so funny because that is where I started playing Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Was Origin, Odyssey, Valhalla. That's where I started.
Well, part of that is because that opens up the opportunity for less stealth, I feel like, which is something that you like more, because you can't stand stealth games.
I played a lot of Assassin's Creed 1, and I'm like, this is garbage. I fucking hate this game. Oh my god. Every time I got in a fight, I got my ass handed to me.
But I've tried multiple times to play it and go back to it, and I can't. I've watched videos about the story, and the story seems interesting. I like the overarching story that Assassin's Creed has built over the years. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I can't do it, and it breaks my heart because it is one of my favorite game franchises.
Yeah. I feel like that one especially sucks for you because it's so late in a franchise to all of a sudden just be like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
That's fair though. The game I've played the most in the Assassin's Creed franchise is definitely Odyssey.
Yeah.
And I will say that for that, when we talk about how expansive it is and the side mission stuff becomes so overwhelming because it doesn't stop. They start sending out the dudes at different levels to try to kill you and whatnot. I was like, bro, I'm bumping into these guys, like 5 of them at a time on the street. This fortress that I captured, literally as I go to walk away from it, they're recapturing it. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Like, I just captured this thing 8 seconds ago, and it's spawning an army in there again. I gotta go fucking kill them again. So it's like, dude, your side missions are nice. I should be able to do them when I want to. Don't constantly like try to yank me back into them.
Yeah.
Don't make the dudes who are the walking side missions constantly attack me in the fucking street. Don't make this fucking fortress get captured every 5 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
Shit's annoying. So I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from. Origins I played a little bit. Valhalla I've played a bit more, and then Odyssey I've actually played a pretty good bit.
Yeah. But
yeah, I definly get. I know you don't like RPG. It's so funny. Like as it goes from stealth games to RPGs, is when you and I both like, oh hello, like swap places. Because as soon as it gets to RPG, I'm like, this is more my thing.
I can't. I understand why people love RPGs. It's not the kind of gameplay I like. It's the same reason I don't like turn-based games either. So I don't think I could ever play Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
and I don't. It's just one of those things. It's a preference thing.
I'm missing out,
and I just don't care for it. And it, like I said, it breaks my heart because I love Assassin's Creed so much.
You know what is interesting though, as part of this conversation as well, is sometimes you can not like something, but like I don't like turn-based games if it's not a handheld console.
Yeah.
I grew up with like Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's like the one that I think of as like a turn-based game.
Yeah,
that
that's
I'm okay
fair.
with.
Yeah.
So I don't like turn-based games. I shouldn't like Baldur's Gate 3, but the game is so good that I don't care. Like, it works for me that I'm like, it doesn't bother me.
My understanding is that Baldur's Gate 3 kind of plays on the same levels as Dungeons and Dragons does, though. So that makes sense why you would love.
Yeah, it is remarkably close to like just a regular game of D&D.
And you're really big into D&D.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you would love it, even though you're not big on turn-based.
But you like story. I'm gonna pull you over on Baldur's Gate. We got to spend some time playing that one. I think you'll like it.
We'll see. But
yeah, the last one that we've got on here, I think we're both going to talk about the same movie a little bit, because this is one of those movies that we both went into, had a blast watching it, and then we left and like everyone hated it.
Yeah.
And it is not well regarded, which bothers me because I fucking love it.
To the point that it is barely even like referenced or acknowledged within its franchise.
Yeah, holy
anymore.
shit. When did it come out?
That was
2020? Oh, while he's looking it up, we're talking about the Eternals, like the Marvel movie The Eternals.
2021.
2021, and it just now, for the first fucking time, officially like in Captain America
Brave New World.
They have now talked about, oh hey, this giant fucking celestial thing in the Indian Ocean, I think. We're finally talking about this. Fucking 4 years later.
Yeah, it's been referenced in like chyrons and stuff like that on television, like news within the other movies and shows and stuff, but it's really only first been acknowledged and directly involved in discussions in Brave New World. And yeah, the Eternals, I know it's one of your favorite Marvel movies.
It is, man. It's like top 3 favorite Marvel movies for me.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. I love the cast. I love the fact that they each have like a power or maybe one or two, but it's not like fucking Superman who has more powers than you can fucking count.
Yeah.
And God, dude, I think the writing's really good. I think the character's really good. There's some dumb stuff. There's certainly some stuff where you're like, okay, that's not how I would have done that.
But that happens with every Marvel movie.
The assistant, Kumail Nanjiani's assistant.
Yeah.
I remember when we watched this movie, I'm like, he's the MCU now. This is the greatest character the MCU has or will ever know. He is so fucking funny, and he's so sweet, and he's so innocent, and I love him so much. But this is one of the first movies that, there's this thing I've always got where when something happens in a franchise, I'm always like, how are they going to adjust to this?
Yeah.
I mentioned Arrow earlier, and I know I've bitched about this before, that when you have him beat fucking Ra's al Ghul at the end of season 3, anyone who ever poses a threat to Oliver Queen at this point, you have to put them up to the power level of, like, he beat Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
So then when he gets fucking beat by a random street thug an episode later, you're like, what the fuck? That's dumb.
Yeah.
After Thanos, any character that is not given their powers or created after Thanos, I think realistically, you got to at least think about, well, where the fuck were they?
Yeah.
Not necessarily that they had to be involved. That was still very much the Avengers doing their thing. But this is one movie where they directly mentioned Thanos, and we didn't step in during Thanos because that's not really what we're supposed to do, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But this one, I think it's the uniqueness of each individual character that really does it for me.
No.
I think they're very well written. I really enjoy them. I love that there's one of them. Is it Brian Tyree Henry?
Yeah.
I don't know why I always like second guess his name. Maybe it's because the 3 names are Tyree. I was like, yeah. He is, if you haven't seen it, he's got like a bit of a tech knowledge, and we don't really see him fight very much for a while.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to the end of the movie and there's like the strongest Eternal, they're like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? He's just like, fucking hold my beer, bitch, I got this. I fucking love that we don't see him as like a combatant. He's with the support group of the Eternals. But motherfucker, when it's time to throw down, this dude is there. Also, just love him as an actor. I think he's fucking great.
Yeah, he's great. They're all great, honestly, in the movie. I think the biggest thing that turned people off about the Eternals was, I think it's a couple of things. I think people kind of were starting to turn against the MCU a little bit post Endgame. Like, I don't know if it was fatigue or if it just became the cool thing to hate on the MCU on the internet.
Because we're definitely still in that second one.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, I mean, even the worst MCU movies, at least to me, are not unwatchable.
Yeah.
Like, I can go back and watch, like, Thor: The Dark World, and it's not going to be an unpleasant experience for me, even though it is objectively not great.
Yeah.
I can still watch Iron Man 2 and have a whole lot of fun.
Excuse me, that is my favorite of the three, thank you.
I know, that's why
it actually is. The Marvels is what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I can also watch the Marvels and have a whole lot of fun. The whole scene with the memory.
I was like, dude, the memory cats part, oh my god.
Is just enjoyable enough alone.
Oh, it's so fucking funny.
Even though there is quite a bit of dumb stuff that's in the Marvels. But I think the other thing that really hurt the Eternals was that it was a very different movie than what the MCU had done before.
Yeah. And see, honestly, the thing that always got me is I could understand people feeling like it was a bit disconnected, because it's like they're in the MCU, but they're not a part of the MCU.
Yeah.
Because a lot of newer movies you would have where you're introducing the new characters, at the end of it, you're going to have Nick Fury being like, "Hey, what's up?" You're going to have a tie-in. You're going to have them come into the group. We don't. And by the end of the movie, I mean they're split pretty heavily.
Yeah.
So I get that it is such a standalone film, I just think time, because like fucking Black Widow came. Yeah. I think it was a good film. I think it came way too fucking late.
Yeah,
the Eternals, I don't think came too late. It's just the unfortunate timing of coming after Endgame.
Yeah, if they had really wanted to do Black Widow justice, it should have come probably after Age of Ultron.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially
same film, just move it up.
Yeah, especially because they focus so much on Natasha's backstory in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely is disconnected, because even the end credits for Eternals are just they tease Harry Styles, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you get the little.
I was thinking the Black Knight. You said Harry Styles. I'm like, I don't think that's his name.
They tease Harry Styles, and then they have the other post credit or mid credit where it's Dane.
Jon Snow.
Yeah, it's Kit Harington's character, and he's opening the sword, and then you get a brief whisper from Mahershala Ali, who may or may not still be Blade at this point.
Please give the people what they want.
It's not that they don't want to; it's that they can't seem to get a script together.
I know.
And now maybe Wesley Snipes has put a little curse on Blade because of that line in Deadpool and Wolverine.
You never know.
But I don't know. But yeah, I don't enjoy. I like the Eternals a lot. You like it a lot more than I do. I wouldn't put it in my top 3 movies.
Dude, I kid you not, if it was not for the cameraman. I know I sound like I'm being, my regular self about it. He is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani is also, I think he's very funny. I think his character, like, the fact that they go into the big fight at the end and he's just like, I can't. Yeah. Like, it's my family fighting against my family. I can't be a part of this. Yeah. You're like, fuck, that's good writing. Yeah. That's good, man. Yeah, I love this movie. I love the Eternals so much. I am in the minority on that one. But I do really enjoy it. I think timing did not help it. I think how standalone it was did not help it. And, maybe, especially with the Celestial at the very least being included in the regular MCU now.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get to see the Eternals come back. I certainly fucking hope so. To be fair, they also fucking killed off probably my favorite of the Eternals. stupid. But yeah, I really enjoy the movie. Definitely one of my favorites. Again, minority. I'm fair. I'm fine with it.
I still think I said it when we first left the movie. I think that it should have been a series instead of a movie. I think the concept of the Eternals was so dense
Yeah,
that they could have sustained an actual like limited series to introduce them.
that's fair. Especially if you want to do a series, some of the stuff where you see, I don't exactly remember if they're all treated as flashbacks or if we progress through the times, but them in some of the older times, I think we could have spent a bit more time in some of those.
Yeah,
Especially again, Brian Tyree Henry's character, just like we give them technology, and I think it's like World War I or World War II that he's like, look at what they do with it.
yeah,
And he's just having a breakdown about what they're doing with technology. They're just murdering each other in droves.
yeah,
It's good shit, man.
yeah.
Obviously, the murder's not good shit, but like the writing,
the writing, the drama. Yeah,
that's really good shit. Them when they're the defenders at, I don't remember the city anymore, but like the very old city. That's really good. That is good shit. I would have liked to have spent a bit more time there.
Yeah.
By the time we get to like the modern age, you're like, oh, this is so boring. I want the old shit. That's cool. But yeah, I think it would have benefited a lot more from that. I had not really thought about that in a while.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I will go ahead and say, fuck it. Talking about the MCU, the Loki TV show, best thing MCU has ever produced, bar none. Boom, done.
Thank you.
You got to finish it, man. You got to see. I'm watching it right now. That's why.
I gotta watch season 2.
It's so good. But yeah, I would be remarkably interested if you have ideas for movie, TV show, video game, movie on the flip side that would fit this criteria. Let us know. This is one of those ones I'm so interested in what people have to say.
Yeah, and if you disagree with us on what we've said about some of your favorite things in the world, let us know, but please be civil about it.
I want to like Elden Ring. I'm sorry. That's the one I'm like, people are going to run me over in the parking lot.
We are all about, as we've said before, like constructive and positive discourse.
Always allowed to like what you like.
Yep. So.
But yeah, hope you enjoy this episode, and I'm Bradley.
And I'm Brendan.
And this has been Story Proof.